Discussion begins with yours truly questioning one of the Fort Hood terror attack victims. Alonzo Lunsford was shot 7 times, including once in the head. And I asked him what happens when he hears about another attack, such as what happened in Orlando earlier this month. Watch. You spoke with me a couple years ago about some PTSD and just what that had done to you, having been shot so many times. When you see something like this happen in Orlando, or what we saw in Istanbul, does it bring that back for you? What does it do? Oh, it does. It brings back the actual event that happened that day to us in 2009, but also it makes one wonder, what are we going to do to minimize the blow that these terrorists are doing to us on our own soil? And years ago, we had talked about soft targets, hard targets and soft targets. What they're trying to do is they're identifying soft targets because of the psychological effect that it has on Americans. So what we need to do, in my opinion, is that we need to work more closely together between military and law enforcement so we're all speaking the same language. We also need to practice response times, but we don't need to necessarily identify large cities. We need to look at small town America as well, because that's where the soft targets are. You feel like they've given up on that? I mean, the messaging that we've gotten in recent days has been, you know, this is something that in modern day America we may have to learn to live with, because we can't find all of the threats. Well, we can find the threats, but I think that a lot of censorship that's been going on, whereas Americans, they see it, they hear it, but they don't really know exactly what it feels like. And this panel that we have today is going to answer a lot of those questions. Rosa, when you suffered a loss on 9/11, and of course that was the terror attack of them all. Right. Here in the United States.
You know, my niece just graduated from high school here in Manhattan and is going to Boston College. And when I look around and I don't see her father and I see my sister sitting there crying 15 years later, I'm so angry. We have learned absolutely nothing.
We need to look at this on multiple fronts, and one of the fronts is we have to be willing to fight this enemy head on with force, but also we have to wage a social war too. I mean, you have, let's say 10% of Muslims are radicalized and willing to do harm, 20% are perfectly willing to live within our customs and our ideology, but then you have that 70% in the middle that's unwilling to report the suicide vest that they see from their friend or report the radicalization of anybody they know. You also have America that is afraid to speak out. We need to fight this on all these fronts, and it's not going to be done through love. Anybody else? Go ahead, sir.
Well, it's interesting hearing these made-up statistics. 10% of Muslims are radicalized. I assume that was just invented because it sounds like a good number. 20% aren't willing to report. You can talk about criticizing political correctness, but that's a bumper sticker. That's a slogan. That's not a strategy. That's not a plan.
Why can't they call it what it is? How do you fight something that you can't call out? You need to call it out. You need to stop thinking about these kumbaya, and your bumper sticker is bleeding all over the place.
Kimberly,
so
go ahead.
Spare me.
Go ahead, Kimberly.
I completely agree with you, because we toss up the word political correctness. Well, I'm sorry, that's the problem, because if we exclude his pledge to ISIS during the attack, we exclude Hassan being able to go up in his own free will and announce his pledge to what at the time was the Taliban, and then he switched over to ISIS, whatever's the going factor at the time, and we suppress that information. That information is not put out to the public because it's politically sensitive.
I think the solution here is to look at a proven model versus shallow theories. We've launched a True Islam campaign where we've looked at 11 points that the extremists are using to radicalize these terrorists, and we're saying here's the counter narrative. So a short-term solution, law enforcement, all those things.
So you need to go to the mosques and get them to repeat that.
And the problem is inconsistent Muslim leadership.
And I bet probably they have not responded. And the problem is you are the minority. What we have right now is Muslim mosques in America radicalized, harboring terrorists, knowing that there are radicals within the mosque, and they're not reporting about it.
What we have is the largest organized Muslim community. We have over 100 sites, 70 mosques in America where they're wide open. Police, law enforcement, we're open.
The majority of mosques in America are not listening to moderates like you.
You have to see the whole thing. You trust me on this. Set the DVR. Presumably you already have us on DVR. It happens tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, our Kelly File special, Terror in America. And our panelists were all spectacular and very honest.